High interest rates have crushed investors and single-family home buyers over the last 2 years, and commercial real estate is getting crushed right now. Syndicators and all the large asset investors are getting crushed right now. The question is, what assets do you position yourself into to continue making larger profits and the best return on investments that are safe? And one of the biggest things right now is small real estate, guys. I know that in times prior, I was talking about our large developments. And yes, even though we're undergoing and undertaking our large hundreds of units of multifamily going up all over the country, it is not tangible for the vast majority of the average investor to take on 100 plus unit developments or purchases in this current time. Great opportunity for purchasing for those of you guys who are in a position with liquidity, cash, the ability to raise capital to go after those assets. But what I will tell you, for the vast majority of you guys that are watching this video right now, one thing that I know that you guys all have in common is that you're interested in crushing profits today. And because most people can't wait 3 years, 5 years down the road to crush massive profits on big deals, you still have to make money today. And even if you do have the affordability to wait it out 3 years, 5 years and crush those profits on the back end like we're doing, how do you generate large profits and returns today to withstand those next 3 years as we wait for market conditions and circumstances to change and otherwise improve so we can go out and crush large profits and big assets? We work on small real estate like duplexes, quads, which are fourplexes, 6-unit, 8-unit real estate. And today, I really want to focus on the 2-unit duplex because this asset class is strong when we talk about crushing large profits in a compressed market right now. Okay, so when we talk about a duplex, guys, let's go through a simple business model. I'm going to give you guys some investment parameters to pay attention to. Now, one of the cool things about a duplex is a lot of urban inner city areas, these are great viable projects. So for those of you guys that have been following our buy land, build house, single family model, this just adds one additional component to what we already do to help you diversify your workload, your builds, and the opportunities to be able to crush larger profits. Now, one of the big things, guys, is you want to be able to go in and you still want to stay modest on your square footage because the build cost and build parameters are very similar between building a single family home and building a duplex, but we want to build these simple. Okay, so there's a few modifications to the business model that I really want you to pay attention to. 2,600 square feet is your gross square footage of a duplex. Now, that is 2 units, 1,300 square foot units each. Now, when we go in, you want to either build this out as either what's called a 2-2 or a 3-2, okay? What that means is it's 2 beds, 2 baths, or 3 bedrooms, 2 baths. And when you do this in the duplex market is what's most desirable right now. 1,300 square feet will get you there because you can go into a great floor plan in a 2-bedroom apartment at a 900 square foot range to 1,000 square foot range. But the thing about duplex is you want to make them feel like a home, a habitable place to live long term, not like an apartment where maybe it's a tentative place to live or it's just a husband, a wife, a young college couple, or maybe a couple with a small kid or two that are going into an apartment complex. Now, I know families live in them, but to make them more habitable for the long-term purchaser and buyer, we want to make sure that we go in, do a minimum of a 2-2, but I'll tell you that in the duplex sector, this 3-2 is gold when we're going in and building 1,300 square foot units. Now, it does have to do with your demographical area. If you're in a university area, you can go in and you can build a 2-2 and be okay with it because of the demographics that we serve. If you're in an area that has a lot of retirees or active living adults, 2-2s will be good. If you go in and you're in an urban area that's inner city, the 3-2s are better because it accommodates family living in a lot more comfortable environment than a 2-2. Now, going back to the actual cost to build, guys, the average single family home, the average cost to build is $141 a square foot. Now, when we go in and we look at cost to build, you want to pay attention to building your duplex out at about this $135 per square foot range in about 85 to 90% of the vast majority of the United States. Unless you're in an upper, more affluent area, you can go in and you're going to land, your build costs are going to be more expensive in this if you're in like the Bay Area in San Francisco, if you're someplace up in central LA, San Diego, coastal areas, if you're up in Portland area, Seattle, the tech capital of the world, if you're in areas like Miami, Florida, New York City, the skew on the price per square foot might vary slightly. But the rest of the United States, ladies and gentlemen, you can go into urban areas and you can build at a very modest rate at $135 a square foot and give a very respectful product. Now, you're not going in and you're not going after a lot of the large amenities that you would normally see in a fully finished custom home, but what do you pay attention to? Where do you cut parameters for savings, and what areas do you give a little bit to make sure that your product is marketable? So let's talk about the components of that build, and let's talk about the components of what you should be paying attention to so that you can make sure that you can, one, either lease or you can sell successfully. Now, when we go in and we talk about savings components, the savings components are in the windows and doors. Windows and doors are a big component where most people overspend. Now, you want to go in and use Vinyl Series Builders Series windows. Just Vinyl Builder Series windows. They're the simplest of the windows that are available on the market today. We use these in our custom homes. Make sure that they have low E in them, but they comply with all of the energy codes currently, because the suppliers can't sell windows that don't comply with the current energy codes. So the quality of the window is almost just as good across the board, but you can go in and spend. You don't use casement windows and you don't use awning windows. They're extremely expensive. We use bigger windows so that way the selling component for natural light is a component that's in there. So you always go with bigger windows, but you never go with expensive windows. You're either going to use single hung windows that you latch and pull up, or you're going to do sliders that you latch on the sides and slide sideways. Once you do the casement windows with a latch or the awning windows with a latch, the cost of your windows almost more than double. And for that reason, we don't use those windows because they don't sell homes and they don't sell duplexes and they definitely don't lease duplexes. And so I'll tell you guys that simple Builder Series windows are where it's at, and you go in and you can do bigger size windows, which are a marginal variance as far as cost. Marginal variance. We're talking a difference from a 4-foot window to a 6-foot window of maybe 5 to 10% variance depending on the manufacturer. So go bigger, go better, get that natural light, but save by using fixed glass windows anywhere you can. Another component that makes a big difference when you're doing your windows is your bathrooms. Back in the day, it was a requirement that you had to have an operable window, meaning that the window opened for ventilation so you don't smell poop inside your bathroom. It was ventilation. Nowadays, you have a requirement that you have to put an exhaust fan in all builds, every single build. So it's no longer a requirement to do an operable window inside the bathroom. Operable windows that open and close are always more expensive, almost double the price of a fixed glass window. So instead of spending on operable windows, use a fixed glass window in your bathrooms, and it still complies with code and reduces your cost. When you do that, it compresses the number that you'll have. Now, where normally maybe you do a duplex of 1,300 square feet, you spend maybe $9,000 not knowing this, you can go in and spend closer to about $5,000 on windows and save yourself $4,000 in window costs just knowing some of these small components of windows and the savings of them on that one line item alone. Doors, same thing, ladies and gentlemen. You don't go in and put solid core doors in your houses except for your front door and your garage door that leads into your garage. Those are required by code to be solid core doors. The rest of them need to be hollow core doors. Now, a lot of the 2-panel modern looking doors are what's most popular right now. And so that's what you want to use, is just something simple, paint grade doors. They don't sell homes. Hollow core, those will sell homes. Your front doors, very modest. You could do something that's a solid core door with some nice design in it, 2-panel or 3-panel doors that are very popular right now, and keep the door price well under $1,000 for your front door and also your back doors in alignment. Now, with that said, guys, our cabinets are the next component where most people spend a lot of extra money. White Shaker cabinets right now, prefab, you can even go in and buy these things laid flat in boxes and have them built. Either you can build them or hire a handyman to build them or get a cabinet guy to build them on the side. But we typically do an entire 2,600 square foot custom home where we pay the labor to have those cabinets built for about $1,200 for an entire home. So when you go in, you can get some very attractive, high-quality cabinets with dovetail cabinets in there. That way they're manufactured well, they last forever, but you're able to go in and save money on the type of cabinets that you actually put inside of those duplexes. This is a big savings component. Your cabinets, you have to shop. Cabinets are an expensive component. You want to make sure that you shop them. Now, when we go into these duplexes, one of the places that we save as opposed to our custom homes, we'll only do 3 cm granite or quartz in our homes. We'll do 2 cm quartz or granite to get the finished, hard, long-term value out of the hard surface countertops that end users want to see because they feel like it's that custom feel, but it's more cost effective. 2 cm, grade 1 on all of your countertops everywhere you go inside of these duplexes, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get complicated. Don't get expensive. Stay with grade 1 granite or quartz in all of your builds. Now, your flooring is going to be modest. If you're going to rent them, glue down wood plank floors. That is going to be your most cost-effective, longest duration of flooring. People love it. It's very cost-effective. It holds up the test of time. If you're going to sell it, you can also do ceramic or porcelain tile, but stay under $2 a square foot on the finished cost of your tile and flooring. That's where your savings comes from. You can go to places like Home Depot, Lowe's, Floor & Decor, and a lot of these other flooring places, and the quality of tile that they get, if they're buying it, when they're buying it on clearance from a supplier overseas or out of a crate from a buyer and distributor, they get the same quality tile, which is a grade 1 tile, one of the most sought after tiles out there because they're not warped. The dialot's the same, the thickness of the tiles of high quality, and you can get one for under $200 a square foot and stay within a modest range. So ceramic, porcelain tile under $2 per square foot for the materials, stay modest with it. And on your flooring, glue down plank flooring, guys, is advantageous. If you're going to sell these duplexes in the bedrooms, use carpet. It's very inexpensive. If you're going to keep them, you're going to rent them, do hard flooring throughout. Now, that's a big savings component. Shower surrounds. This is an expense that in custom homes you can afford. On these duplexes, you can't. So we always use shower pans if we're doing a shower, or we'll do what's called a shower surround, which is a slide-in shower. Very high quality. They look nice, but they're extremely modest as far as cost. For example, per bathroom, per shower, we typically pay for a shower surround anywhere between $1,800 and $2,500 per shower surround. But in these simple slide-in showers on these duplexes, you can use a one-piece or two-piece shower slide-in, and for $800, less than half the price, even a third of the price, you can get your shower surrounds done for a more modest finish. Now, if you're in a higher end, more custom area, do a tile shower surround, but use a shower pan instead of building a shower pan, because you'll save yourself about $1,000 every time you put in a shower pan versus building one. Custom homes, you build the shower pan. In duplexes, you buy a shower pan. In bathtub surrounds, same thing. Same exact thing that goes into the shower surrounds on showers goes into bathtubs on the duplexes. Now, you'll save on these components. Now, the backsplashes and trim, you want to make sure that you check your demographical area. I will tell you guys, in most areas, if you're going into urban areas, that you're doing either tear downs or you're doing repositioning of the lot or you're doing an infill lot, that the backsplashes are not a negotiable factor in regards to the finished trim. You can pull the backsplashes out and save yourself the money. Now, if you're going to live there yourself, put in the backsplashes, but figure out your demographical area. If you can get a little bit more for rent, or it's a higher end area, where I'm not saying it's a wealthy area, but a higher end area where you get a better finished tenant, then go ahead and do the backsplashes. But this is where you can actually save, ladies and gentlemen. We talk about the areas you can save. Let me give you guys one more, your exterior facades. Don't go in putting high-end brick or stone on your exterior facades. Siding and stucco is fine. Doing a single color stucco with a second color on the trim and maybe a third color with your light fixtures or windows will give you more than enough variety to make the product look very attractive to the end user or end buyer. But if you start putting in a fourth component like stone or brick or tile to your exterior component, it's going to add to it. So keep your exterior components very modest and keep your drywall and interior components very modest. Your paint should be one color throughout with the exception of maybe your trim. Now, with that said, that'll keep your build cost closer to this $125 to $135 a square foot, and it'll keep you within a profitable margin for the duplex build. This is the price per square foot on average throughout the United States that you want to pay attention to. Now, the areas that we want to pay attention to in regards to adding value, your value areas, these areas here, we want to pay attention to. And here's why, ladies and gentlemen. These are the areas that actually sell the component of your actual build. The kitchen, okay? Open floor plans, open, okay? It's not so much sometimes what you put in your kitchen, but how you actually design your kitchen to the living space and living area. People don't want closed off kitchens anymore. So if you can make the kitchen feel spacious, you're going to have a more desirable kitchen. Sometimes putting seating area on a center console or island is advantageous because it takes away from the need of being able to go in and put a large table. Maybe you can make your kitchen and your dining area slightly smaller, make it feel big by doing a center island or a pony wall that has a little bar top on it for sitting capabilities in your kitchen. Now, your trim out items in your kitchen are very important. Having the countertops that we spoke about over here when we're talking about cabinets and countertops is very important because end users buy houses based on kitchens and bathrooms, predominantly the master bathroom and the kitchen. So for that reason, you want them to feel spacious. We just finished these small condominium style cottages down in Kirkland, Washington. They were on average 1,350 square feet. The kitchens were small, but the way that we went in and we built out these kitchens is what really made those kitchens and that end value of those builds feel so spacious and attractive to the end user. Where we went in, we had the kitchen components with a small island that we pushed over to the wall so it wasn't sitting in the middle of the kitchen, so it gave more room for maneuverability and space. But we also extended out our countertops about an extra 8 inches to be able to have a sitting area that we could put bar stools under, and you could have 3 small bar stools and a place to sit right at the center island, which made it more spacious and more available for open room. We were able to put a 4-person table instead of a 6-person table in the dining room, which allowed for more space. Now, that dining room and that kitchen area extended into the family space. And because it extends into the family space, that component in itself makes it all feel like one giant room, but giving you all the special components that you need and want for an open space floor plan and usability within a smaller size dwelling of 1,300 square feet. It was a home run. We sold almost all those cottages at first visual to the first buyers that walked in because of how spacious we made the kitchens. But the trim outs were extremely modest and very attractive in regards to the finished components that we did use. Now, the master bathroom, same thing, ladies and gentlemen. Make them so you have a his and her sink in that master bathroom so that way it also feels open and more spacious. You don't have to get crazy with it in regards to the trim out components, but you do have to have components in there that people want, either a nice shower, a nice bathtub, but something that is modestly trimmed out where you can go in and generate profits from either leasing or selling. The master bathroom is a big component of minor trim out items that you want to pay attention to. Plumbing fixtures. Plumbing fixtures are very important. You know, you can go to Costco right now. I was just in Costco the other day and I saw the nice, attractive faucets that I was once paying $300+ for $190 inside of Costco. Now, I'll tell you that for the plumbing fixtures on something like these, you might want to spend about $100 and maybe $50 on your kitchen fixture, and you want to keep your plumbing fixtures in your bathrooms under $50 per plumbing fixture. But get the nice ones, guys. Buy on clearance. Sometimes when you go into Home Depot or Lowe's or one of these places, they have the clearance racks with faucets and stuff on there. Sometimes they're open box. Make sure they have the manifolds for the fixtures. And as long as they have the manifolds and the trim out pieces, it's okay buying at discounted prices for better faucets and materials. You can also get on places like Wayfair. You can get on Amazon and Walmart.com right now. All those places are logistic companies. You can shop for less on imported items coming in from these logistic companies like Amazon, like Wayfair, like Walmart, and you can get plumbing fixtures at a discounted price that are very, very modest. Now, I will tell you guys on light fixtures, be careful shopping online, because if you're doing trim out items like the new modern gold that's very trendy right now, the gold's colors don't match. Now, when you're using trim out items like oil rub bronze or matte black finishes or brushed nickel, it's very safe to buy online because those components, they're going to match. And because they're going to match, you can shop online and you can get better and nicer light fixtures. But I'll tell you, your plumbing fixtures, put a little extra into those because people can tell the finished components when they're cheap or when you've invested just a little extra into them. Same thing with lighting fixtures. Lighting fixtures are not that expensive. Invest in a nice family room lighter fan and a nice entryway lighter fan, but do something that's attractive, yet modest in price, but attractive to the end user. And then your appliances, ladies and gentlemen. This is a big variable right here. Now, I'll tell you that depending on your demographical area, your appliances are going to make a big difference. Some areas that are extremely simple and modest, you can do a very simple and modest finish trim out on your appliances. Use stainless steel. In spite of saving money, unless you're in a lower demographical area, then you can do black or white. But if not, use stainless steel. For a few dollars more, your appliances will help lease and sell your homes. Now, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk to you guys about where you find the land to be able to take this down. When we're looking at these duplexes, you want to go into urban areas. Duplexes are not typically built in rural or semi-rural areas. A lot of times, people are going into these urban areas, inner city, outside of downtowns, or uptown areas where there's a lot of density already being built. Because there's density already being built, you can take a single family home in most of these urban areas, you can tear it down, and with some of the ADU laws that are changing and trending across the country, you can take advantage of doing a duplex on a single family lot without even doing what's called a short plat or subdivide on the land itself. So you can go into these urban areas and you could take advantage of either buying an old home that's distressed and just tear it down. Take advantage of having the lot and then go in and build a duplex. If you look at the price per square foot on an old home versus a new home, you will easily recognize that the price per square foot on the new home is substantially greater on the price per square foot, making it a lot more profitable if you do a tear down on an old, beat up home in an urban area. Okay. Now, if you go to the Midwest, you go to the Southwest, and even areas as you move to the West, there's a lot of median homes out there and lots that you can buy at an extremely modest price and profit from it. Number two, buy a lot or old home and demo it out. That's going to be the big catch saver when you're looking in urban areas. Number three, duplex plans to model the area. Okay. You want to get plans that model the area that you're in. Now, if you're in a higher demographical area, like there's a place as you drive to DFW Airport in Dallas, Texas, you land up passing through Southern Methodist University. And as you pass through the university area, it's an old historic neighborhood, but the homes and the demographic are extremely nice. And so it's a very desirable place to live. So in spite of the homes being old doesn't mean distressed. Old just means different because of the different architecture and where it lives, but a very desirable area. Landscaping's nice, trees are mature. In that area, you would build a more affluent, nicer duplex, and you would go in and do floor plans that would model after that area. Now, you go into areas like Columbus, Ohio, you go into areas like Alabama, you go into places like Mississippi or Tennessee, and you go into a lot of these areas that are pressing over towards the Midwest or towards the East or South. There's a lot of areas, guys, that you can go in, and housing's very inexpensive, very cost effective. So you could go in, you tear down an old house, and you want to do a duplex that's conducive to the level of demographics that you have in those given areas. They'll be substantially more modest than building in the DFW area in Dallas-Fort Worth that I was talking about, building like in the area where Texas Methodist University is at, going over towards DFW. So I'll tell you guys that demographical area depicts a large variance of what you actually build. Number four, median to upper median areas. Again, we don't want to go into lower demographical areas. It's a really tough market to profit from. Where do you get money? You get money from people that have it. And because we're not going after the larger upper median builds like we normally do in our normal business model for buying land and building houses, that upper median area for that business model is very attractive. For this business model, median is okay. Now, and the reason median is okay because there's profitability, there's people that need affordability. Now, when you hit this area, you want to go after median or upper median areas to be able to make sure that it cash flows correctly and the return on investment for resale purposes is of value. Because we're building at a more modest price, we're going to be selling at a more modest price. When you build a more modest product at $135 a square foot, you know that your product is going to be slightly more modest. And so if we go too expensive in an area that doesn't afford it, we're not going to make any profitability. So being in this median area is okay with a duplex model. Now, when we talk about number five, we search Zillow for construction prices on price per square foot. When we go in, you search on Zillow, you just have to look for your demographical areas. So if you are in areas like the Bay Area, you're in areas like San Diego, if you're in areas like New York City, if you're in areas like Salt Lake City now, housing's gotten expensive. And so when you go in, you might, instead of saying, hey, Jerome, in my area, I can't build for $135 a square foot. Well, if you're in an area that you can't build for $135 a square foot, that means that rents are more expensive. That means that resale values are more expensive because there's no builder that are building for free in any of those given areas. So what's cool about those areas is that they're more affluent. So your profitability is typically greater and your risk is slightly higher because of the dollar amount out of pocket, but your return on investment is within a threshold of reasonability because the price per square foot goes up exponentially in more affluent areas. But for 90% of the vast majority of the United States, that $135 per square foot is where you're going to want to stay on your build prices. The way you'll understand and depict that is just by driving and searching on Zillow to be able to go in and depict what your construction prices are. You just go in and look at the price per square foot on both the resale price and the estimated construction price right off of Zillow to figure out what your average median house is being built out within that demographical area. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys want to see the actual financial breakdown, comment below price breakdown in the comments section and put hashtag repeat so that this way we know that you're watching for the second time and you're going in and learning how to build a duplex for a profit or for long-term asset growth in your portfolio. Now, for those of you guys that want more content just like this, click and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Smash that thumbs up button. I'm going to recommend a video right after this on how to go out and build the actual duplex. It's one of my first buy land, build duplex videos. In addition to supplementing this video, go back, rewatch that duplex video, and go out and crush some profits, and we'll see you next time.